Welcome to Jets Rewind. This is Marty Shupak. I'm in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by Ralph Sharega, who is in Belmont, Mass. We're soon to be joined by Ray Clifford, who is in Idaho. And it is Sunday night. It is on, it's 7 o'clock. And today is August 15th, 2021. Ralph, how are you doing?
Good. You know, I always come on the show so I can set my watch to you. That's what I come here for. So thank you.
Yeah, set it Afghanistan time. Okay. Because anyway, we have a trivia question, but we're going to hold off till Ray gets here. He'll be in a minute. Yeah. Ralph, I want you to start your initial reaction. Take about a minute, 2 minutes. Tell me your initial reaction of the Jets in their opening preseason game, which they beat the Giants 12-7.
Well, you know, like most preseason games, it was fun at times and really painful to watch at times. One thing we learned is there's no shortage of bad quarterbacks in this world, Marty.
Wow. Yeah.
And but of course, you know, everyone's eyes are on Wilson, and I was really pleased with the way he played. We'll get into that later, specifically why. And, you know, there were some other highlights, and we're going to talk about, you know, each pick 3 guys that we thought really did well and 3 guys that were disappointing. And I don't know if you want to get into that at the moment or what.
No, let me just give you my reaction. I was fairly pleased going in knowing that we're going to be playing our first team offense against the second team defense, which, Ralph, if you said to me, are you happy with that? I said, yeah, I'm ecstatic. I mean,
I agree with you, Marty, because every other one of the rookie quarterbacks saw second and third team defenses too.
And not only that, Ralph, but Robert Saleh did a great thing since training camp. He has Zach Wilson going up against the number 1 defense. And even going back to Sam Darnold, he was taking reps with the first team and the second team. He didn't go against the number 1 defense as much as Zach Wilson. And just as we've been talking about, and you saw from the preseason game, the Jets have a darn good defense. So I thought that was a very, very big plus, Ralph.
Yeah, I'll tell you another smart thing that Sal and LaFleur did that Urban Meyer did not do. Who's their offensive coordinator? Is it Schottenheimer, Jacksonville?
No, I think he might be like the quarterback's coach. I don't think he's the offensive coordinator.
So what happened with Trevor Lawrence was his first play, they asked him to drop back in the pocket and throw a pass. And of course he froze a little, he got hit, sacked, and he fumbled the ball. And I knew that LaFleur was going to call a rollout for Wilson on his first one, which is the smart thing to do. Nice, easy pass. Nobody's around you. You know, he breaks a sweat, and that was good. And I really thought that was an advantage that he had.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's here. Yeah.
Ray I'm here, but I'm not sure my
camera. All right. Well,
camera's going to work.
Well, as long as we can hear you, Ray, we don't care what you look like, right?
work on it, Ray. We're just
I'm working on it.
Initial reaction. And the one thing I was going to save it, but Ralph, since you mentioned it, I thought his rollout, and I didn't think he was as good as everyone else did, but on his rollout, much better than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, I thought, held it like a step too long. He got rid of it, I thought, at the perfect time. So that's definitely a plus. And I thought he did a great job on the rollout. All right. There he is. Ray, I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me your initial reaction to the game in about a minute, and then we're going to move on to the next. We're going to move on to trivia.
Trivia. Yeah, it's a quick trivia question.
I thought it was a decent game. I mean, I didn't expect a lot. I know the Giants didn't play a lot of their starters, so but I thought Sam looked good. Not
Sam.
Sam, excuse me.
There's what a Freudian slip, huh?
No, Zach looked good, but not great. But then again, I mean, he had the shortest outing of all the rookies, and I think they were just giving him the basic stuff to do. He had some good rollouts and he made good decisions, I thought. But, it's going to be hard to judge based on that game, seeing as they didn't have their top defense going against him to really test him. But he looked good to me.
And Ray, right before he came on, and I hate to repeat it for the audience, but what I told Ralph was Sally did a great thing where Zach Wilson was going up against the Jets' #1 defense all training camp, which was great. So if you said to me, are you okay with him going up against a Giants second team? I'd say I'm fine with it at this point for the first game. Okay, let's get right into the quick trivia question.
Quick
Ralph
trivia.
asked.
Okay, very simply, when was the last time the Jets hosted a playoff game?
Ooh, okay. I think I was at the game.
It wasn't the Kansas City game in 1969, Marty.
No.
Although it seems like it.
Yeah.
At the end, I'm going to let Ray try to answer. I'm pretty sure I got it right. All right. We watched, it's, as Ralph says, some of the preseason games, it's like painful to watch. There's always parts of them, but let's see if we could pick 3 studs and 3 duds from the game. I'm going to have Ray go first. I'm sure we're going to overlap, so I try to put in a couple of extras, and I assume you guys did. So go ahead, Ray. First of all, who do you think with 3 studs? We'll each name our studs before we get to the duds.
I thought Mosley had a good game. I thought, it's hard to judge any of this stuff, but I thought Mosley had a good game. Mims had his moments later on, and I liked, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it, Dumfor. He had a couple of good plays on the defensive line.
Hopefully he's not done for.
Yeah. This is one of those games where,
Right.
being a stud in one of these games is like, winning the fantasy, soccer game or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Apparently, again, PFF, Pro Football Focus, it's amazing. They're like these gambling outlets that they rate everything. They'll rate like a part.
Do they rate our podcast?
Yes. And Mosley apparently got a good rating. All right. So you picked Mosley, Mims, and Dumfor. Ralph, you go next.
Okay. I'm going to go with Wilson because I really think he was excellent. We'll go into that reasons later. I'm going to pick a guy that's going to annoy you, Marty, just to annoy you. I'm going to pick Vincent Smith.
Good. I'm going to talk about him, but he was phenomenal. And
that was a great play. And he caught a couple balls. Yeah, he was fine. He was fine.
He was great.
He's not nearly as good a player as Denzel Mims, but he's all right.
But he seems more fluid this year in his routes and everything.
Yeah. And third, I'm going to take Javelin Guidry. I think Joe Douglas got a good one in him. Him and Huff last year as undrafted free agents. I think it makes up for some weak picks he made in the draft.
Right. All right. Those are good picks. I'm going to change mine around because I don't want to pick the same ones. I'll tell you, I'm going to surprise you because I've been on him all summer. I think Mekhi Becton played great. I thought if you watch and even
missed one block. He missed one block.
One block. Exactly.
Ojolari got off of him. And
one block.
Yeah.
Apparently all that training going against Lawson, I think, helped out. They were animals going on the left side, savages. Also, I think Corey Davis played very good. I thought this guy's a stud. I thought he was phenomenal. And the other player is, I think he's very athletic. This defensive lineman, Jonathan Marshall. I thought he had a few good plays. He was in there. And I thought the guy was great. And look, I don't mind. We keep getting deeper defensive line. Apparently the Titans, I think they might have lost one of their best defensive linemen to an injury. They'll know more Monday. So you never know what could happen. But I just want to mention two other players that I put down. I thought Huff was great. I thought he was phenomenal. Bryce Huff. He got pinched on the reverse.
Yeah,
But-
badly.
and he also, when he was on the other side, which where he was more often, once or twice, he went for the the ball fake and the quarterback. He
Right.
lost containment there. That's something that he'll be able to correct. The
He'll
things that
learn.
you can't teach his motor, and you can't teach his quickness and bendability. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. And I thought that after that, I noticed he did contain on one or two plays. And I noticed in the fourth quarter, I was surprised he was in the fourth quarter sometimes.
Yeah.
He almost got in, or maybe he was near his second sack or half sack. They started to double team him, which is unbelievable on a couple of plays.
I want to mention, oh, you got another one? Because I want to mention one of your favorite players that we
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
talk
going to
about.
mention Braden Mann.
Yeah.
I thought those two punts, one helped by a phenomenal play by Vincent Smith with the backspins, were great. And I loved his emotion. It's nice that he jumped up like, he hit a 3-point shot. It was great. So I thought those guys were really, really studs in the game.
I got one more. Nasruddin. I think he was all over the place. Even on special teams, I now noticed him. Yeah.
What was his number?
45. Damian Sherwood is 44. He actually had 4 tackles, but I noticed Nasruddin even more. And even on special teams, I think that guy's a player. He's a live body out there.
Right. Okay, we're going to go through the duds. I'm going to have Ralph. I want you to start. I know one of Ralph's definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on this guy's case for a year now. Lamar Jackson, he's just not he doesn't have athleticism to be an NFL cornerback. I think I don't know why team didn't give him a shot at safety, because he can't play cornerback. He's a stumbler, I'll leave the other cornerback to you, Marty. I'm gonna. Kenny Yeboah, unfortunately, he was on a lot of snaps. I never noticed him except for that one play. Real shame. I don't know what they're going to do with tight end. I don't know how many they're going to keep. I don't know if they count Wesco as a tight end. But it's going to be very interesting. My third one was Nagar. He was doing fine until that last kick, and I don't mind a guy missing a 53-yard field goal, but he looked like a high schooler the way he kicked that. It was terrible. I want to see Amendola get a shot next week.
Yeah, I think Amendola will. I mean, he's got a strong foot. We'll see what happens. And the kicker, the kicker may not be on the team right now. They may be one of those cut guys. All right, go ahead. You go.
Well, I knew Ralph's main one. That was too easy. But mine is kind of a specialized one. It's the offensive line, but not overall. It's the short yardage run blocking. Once again, a 3rd and 1, and we couldn't even get the guy back to the line of scrimmage, much less make a yard.
The middle of the line, bad.
Terrible. Yeah. They were in our backfield, nothing flat. I think, and I know one of the questions later will be rating them, but I was very disappointed for the most part in the backup QBs overall, and of the tight ends as well. But I was very disappointed that Herman didn't show up at least a little more. So he's really, I'm starting to wonder if he might be on the bubble. I can't believe he would be, but I expected something out of him yesterday, and looks like right now they're hitching the wagon to Croft.
He caught one, Herman. I still think
he caught one early.
Yeah, I think I still think he'd be 1 and 1A with Croft.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Just quickly on Croft, and I'll give you my picks in a minute. You guys took them all, so I only have 2. But let me give them to you. Then we'll discuss Croft. I had this guard they got from San Diego.
Oh.
and
he's going to get it in the film room, boy.
And there was a couple of plays, and again, he might have done well on that last drive. I don't know if he was in there, but
probably was. Yeah,
there were a couple of plays where he was lost. He was like coming up the rear of the pack, and it just
did you see the one where he got knocked on his ass? He got pushed about 5 yards back and knocked on his ass. That was.
I
think he's been hitting himself in the head with too many beer cans.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing. He was terrible last year at
San Diego, yeah.
Los Angeles, the Chargers.
I mean, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So he's very consistent.
Yeah, and which is too
That
bad.
was our prized free agent lineman.
If he doesn't work out,
Trey Smith.
all of a sudden, yeah. Trey
I'm
Smith.
still going to be bashing my head against.
Well, we got Jonathan Marshall, and boy, he looks like a stud too.
Yeah, but our offensive line might all of a sudden be getting thinner with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I saw one good thing, which I'll get into in a minute, but the two players I have left, I mentioned one Feeney. The other one is Corey Valentine. I thought he's awful. He made a play, nice play, knocking the ball away, but that guy is so unathletic.
He got picked on like crazy, and that's his former team. So that speaks volumes.
Oh, it's just unbelievable too. I mean, I think he's terrible. But those are my two. I had Kenny Uboa, I had Lamar Jackson, and I had the kicker too. So
I got one more who's a whipping boy, and it's just pathetic. It's Jabari Zuniga. I mean, he went down. I watched him when he was in there, and he was ordinary. And then now I hear he's hurt again. It's ridiculous. Really? Yeah.
It's the knee.
I didn't even see his name. I was looking for him.
Yeah, he was playing left end for a spell, and he's not nearly as good as Huff.
Right. And with Huff, I mentioned. I think I texted Ray during the week. The way Huff's been playing, where does that put Vinny Curry?
I don't know if any Curry. Who's going to start between he and John, the hyphenated guy?
Franklin Myers.
Franklin Myers.
I think Franklin Myers.
He made a couple plays, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Franklin Myers.
I like him too.
But I think Huff is going to be definitely at minimum the third down sets. He'll be in there. I want to mention on the Tyler Croft, and then we're going to get into the quarterback, Zach Wilson. But quickly, there was one play where they didn't pick up a blitz. You remember it. And Zach got rid of the ball very quick. And he tossed it to Tyler Croft, who fell. Do you remember the play?
Yeah, that was his last pass.
Was it? I couldn't tell. If he didn't fall, was that ball anywhere close?
Oh, you're talking about the incompletion?
Yeah, the incompletion.
Oh, that one I don't remember. Yeah, I'm talking about the last pass.
No, the incompletion. Yeah. Do you remember the play, Ray and Ralph?
I don't remember. For some reason, that play hasn't shown. I watched all his passes, but I missed that one in the replays. I'm gonna have to look back at that.
How about you, Ray?
No, I'm trying to remember it.
It was to the right side, his right side, and he was getting, nobody picked up a blitz. He was in his space. He got rid of the ball.
Right, yeah.
The reason I'm saying it, because if you said to me if Croft didn't fall, he would have had it, I would have said that would have been his best play of the day, the way he got rid of the ball.
Well, if you look at his last pass, which was to Croft too, remember he got the first down, he threw it to Crowder, but there was a penalty on Cole. It moved him back. It was like 3rd and 17. He's in a pocket and it's collapsing on him, and he throws it just as he's getting hit hard, and no flinch, and he hits Croft about a yard or two short of the first down, and he doesn't get it. But that play shows you a lot.
Right.
I mean,
right. Yeah.
That's what you want to see.
Let's talk about Zach. I'm going to start because he was through the mill. If you read the internet, like leading up to the game, how many people thought he was a bust? One of those, I forgot his name, Ray knows it, was comparing it to Johnny Manziel.
I read someone comparing it to
Colin. That was Colin Coucher.
I read some guy comparing it to Jimmy Clausen.
But anyway, listen, this is what I'll say about him.
Manziel.
He's got an unbelievable quick release. I mentioned before on the rollout, he was better and quicker than Sam on the rollout. The only negative I saw, maybe I am looking too deep into it, I thought he locked onto his primary receiver too much.
He did a couple of times. With Davis on the out one, which was one of his best passes of the day. But sometimes your first guy is your option. So I don't know. If he looked at Davis, he saw him one-on-one, so I think he knew he was going there.
Right.
Yeah, the one where there was like the quick out or whatever, he just dropped back and fired it.
Yeah,
Mm.
that was a long pass, actually. It went quite a distance.
right. Ray, all right, Ralph, you want to say, go ahead, tell me what your thoughts on Zach was, and then Ray will give his thoughts.
No, I figured we'd discuss him in context with the other four quarterbacks.
okay.
Ray and I have actually watched all their throws.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. And the next question is, what was our favorite stat of the game? And I think I'll start. My favorite stat was no sacks of Zach. And to me, that's important, though I think it's part of the growth period that he does get sacked too.
Mhm.
And how he comes back and handles it on the next play or the next passing play. So to me, I like the fact that there were no sacks in the game. Ray?
My favorite stat, the final score. I mean, I didn't really, to me, especially the first preseason game, there's so little that stats to me tell me, because you don't know how many of these guys that were on the field last night are even going to be on a team, much less on the field come the first day. I just like to see no injuries, and I like to see guys not look horrific, which, in general they didn't. There were a few guys who really better step it up by next week if they're still around. But so for me, I was just happy to see we broke the losing streak of the Giants in the preseason. I thought actually when we gave up that touchdown, I thought, here we go.
Yeah, I know you made that clear. You're a classic Jet pessimist.
Right. But you can't take these exhibition games to heart. I mean, come on.
No.
I know you want to win.
That's why I said, I mean, we won. Yay.
Yeah. All right. Ralph.
My favorite stat, although I like the fact that they had 5 sacks and only gave up 1. That's good. But my favorite stat was 4 for 4, which is what Zach Wilson was on third downs. One of them got called back, but I count that one because it was a really nice pass. And to me, that's where you make your money in the NFL, is on third down. And I thought he did it really well.
Right. I want to skip to the 5 quarterbacks right now, because then we'll talk about Zach more. But before we do, 2 players just want to do a shout out. I don't know if they're going to make the team, but there was an offensive lineman, Grant Herman's number 63, who was in there during the last drive. So he's 6'7", 300 pounds, undrafted free agent. I watched him a couple plays. He looked pretty good. I'm assuming.
Tackle? Is he a tackle?
I'm not sure. I think he's
at 6'7". Yeah.
6'7". Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a shot to at least make the practice squad, which I'm going to get into in a second too, because the practice squad is now 16 players. Okay. The other player I want to do a shout out to, and I guess he's been up and down with a couple of teams, the Jets last year. I just don't like the way he's hustle. He's a linebacker, number 56, Noah Dawkins. He's from Citadel.
Yeah, he's very active. I noticed him last night.
And the reason being, I love guys that have a lot of pride and run down runners and get them from behind, like that guy did with Seattle, that receiver last year. Remember that classic?
Yeah, Metcalf. Yeah.
Metcalf, when he ran down that guy. And when the Giants had that large gain, if you
Watson,
if you watch number 56, he was phenomenal going down. And he did it at least one other play and 2 others. So I want to keep an eye on him. All right, let's get right to the quarterbacks, because everyone talks about first round rookie quarterbacks forever and ever. They always talk about the class of this guy, the class of Dan Marino, the class of Peyton Manning, the class of Sam Darnold. This is the class of Trevor Lawrence. So Ralph, why don't you start, and Ray is going to feed in, because you guys saw every play by every quarterback.
Well, what I gathered from this is that you can't trust statistics. You have to watch.
Right.
I thought that Lawrence and Wilson had almost identical statistics. I thought they had pretty similar games. Lawrence took a couple of sacks. I thought he was a little slow on the trigger. What did you think of Lawrence, Ray?
I thought he started out, well, obviously he got a strip sack on his first
Yeah.
play, so he started out a little slow. I thought he played better as it went along, but he looked a little inconsistent. But I think the Browns came at him with more of their
They
starters.
did, yeah, at first,
So
yeah.
I think he got tested a little more than any of the other guys.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Overall, I didn't think he was bad, but
Yeah,
he showed, he was a little inconsistent, but game one against that defense, I guess,
Yeah.
isn't too bad.
Then the Thursday night game, Mac Jones. I happened to watch some of that live, and his numbers look pretty good. He didn't give many yards. A lot of his passes were check downs and swing passes. Threw a few middle distance passes that were okay. And I thought he navigated the pocket along with Wilson probably best
Very
of the
well.
5 guys. He has no choice because he's not very mobile,
No.
but he's good at that. And I thought he was poised. It's hard to get past his arm strength, though. I feel like he has his ceiling. I think Pennington is a really good comp for him. Pennington was a solid NFL quarterback, but he had a ceiling that definitely he couldn't go beyond. And I think Wilson will be a good. Mac Jones will be a good game manager. I don't think he's going to be a spectacular player, but he might fit in that system.
Could he carry that team, or will he be able to carry the team the last 3 minutes of a game when they're down by 4 points?
He might. Yeah. What did you think, Ray?
I thought it's funny. I watch him. It felt at times like I was watching him at Alabama. He was very accurate, even though, he was off by a little bit a couple times. We made some nice throws when they protected him. They didn't. I thought they didn't catch a couple passes they could have. I thought he was smart in the pocket. He ran a little bit when he had to, and by a little bit, I mean 2 or 3 yards and picked up the first down. I thought the same of him now that I think the same of him now that I thought back then was if they can keep him upright and protect him, he can be a solid quarterback. I don't think he'll ever be elite, but he does have that accurate arm, and he can make all the throws he needs to. He doesn't need to be like a Zach or Trey Lance with the big arm, but he needs to definitely have time to be able to put the ball where it needs to be.
Next, we'll go to Trey Lance, who had a really up and down game.
Yes.
So his second pass, which was a rollout, that was a nice pass. That was a 45-yard dime. He hit the guy. He threw him open, and things looked good at that point. But he started getting a little scatter-armed and started throwing into coverages, and he should have had a couple of interceptions. He had a few drops.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I saw 3, but
3 at least. Yeah,
he throws a very heavy ball, and it's not a tight spiral at times. I have a feeling those guys are going to have to get used to catching his ball. It's not going to be easy, and I think his accuracy, when I saw him his pro day, is only a little to be desired. What do you think?
I thought he was kind of all. Yeah, he had few good throws. He did have the drops. He has the big arm. There was no doubt about that. But, as it went along, he seemed to get a little more erratic with his throws. And it looked like he was trying to force it in there at times. And you're right. I thought at least once he should have been picked, if not twice. And, he didn't take off running a lot or anything.
He got sacked 4 times, by the way.
He got sacked
a couple of those were not his fault. They were all over him.
But yeah, he got nailed, I think, at least 4 times on that too. So, he was okay. He still looks like a project to me. But I thought, if they can corral him a little bit, get him making a little smarter decisions and keep that arm under control, maybe he'll turn into what they think. They were raving about the throw. When I was reading about it, they were raving about the one big throw, but then I watched the rest and I'm like, okay, he had one good throw.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you both this. To start the season, who's the starting quarterback? That's the first question. And assuming there's no
starting quarterback for who?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Oh,
and the first game of the year and the 8th game of the year. Go ahead, Ralph.
I definitely think Garoppolo first game of the year. Eighth game of the year. Wow, it's a tough one. I'll go with Lance.
Okay, Ray.
Unless they're stumbling, I think it'll be Garoppolo most, if not all, the year. If he's playing well, I think he'll keep him in there and let Lance sit and keep learning. But if he's struggling early in the year, then yeah, by week 8, I think it'll be Lance for sure. I think he'll be ready to go with him.
And everyone, it seems like it was like a decade ago, but they have to remember that Patrick Mahomes sat for his first year. Yeah. And remember that he said it was the best thing that ever happened to him. I'm going to start with Justin Fields because he was the only quarterback that I really watched.
Did you watch all his passes, Marty, or just his highlights?
Most of his highlights I saw. I didn't see all of his passes, so I'm gonna. That's that's full disclosure, Ralph.
Okay.
Hands on a Bible. But from what I saw, he looked a little more settled than Zach Wilson. And I'm saying Zach Wilson wasn't settled, but he looked to me kind of like the game maybe it slowed down for him. So, Ralph, you could fill me in, though, on the rest of the plays.
Well, he was a tale of two halves. His first half, he was bad. In fact, if Zach Wilson had the first half he had, the George Washington Bridge would have been filled with Jet fans, Marty. You being the first one to jump off. He was bad. He was bad in the first half, and that was when he was playing against better players. Should have had 2 interceptions. They dropped both of them. He fumbled one where he ran and holding it like a loaf of bread. He was on the ground, and he scrambled and recovered. That was an amazing play. Kid's a great athlete. I hope all these guys do well. It's painful watching bad quarterbacks. So I think it's good for the league and it's fun to watch. So I have nothing against him. Now in the second half, he had 2 3-and-outs in the first half. In the second half, I was thinking, I want to see these touchdowns. Now the touchdown pass, the guy was so wide open, he backed into the ends. That was silly. Okay, there's nothing wrong, nothing wrong with it.
Listen, he saw it.
Yeah,
we've all seen times where guys, don't see the play. He
made a couple of
Yeah.
He made a couple of nice runs. That's right. The run for the touchdown. You see, what worries me about this guy is, if you saw the run for the touchdown, there were 2 guys in the end zone that looked like they were going to hit him. They decided to back off. I think in a regular season, they would have collided at about the 1-yard line. And I worry about him. He's fearless with that stuff. And I don't think it bodes well for a long career.
I want to ask Ray, and Ray, give us your opinion. But from what you saw of him, do you think he bails out a little too soon out of the pocket?
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say in the second half.
Yeah, he might have. I'll tell you though, that was, he's not used to being under as much pressure as he's going to see in this league, I don't think, and the guys aren't going to be as open, so his decision making is going to take a little longer here. I think that the main thing and the first thing I wrote down about after watching all his throws was that I expected him to look a lot better based on the stats when I saw them.
Okay.
I did too. Yeah.
And then I watched him. I'm like, man, he like you said in that first half, Ralph, he was throwing the ball kind of all over the place. He did not look steady. The second half was much better. And I don't know if it would have mattered or not, whether it was still the starters or that he played longer and got more comfortable. Yeah. But
probably a little.
Once he was able to move around and create a little bit, it seemed like it slowed him down a little.
Right. All right. Listen, as we enter the fourth quarter, I just want to jump around a little bit quickly. Going back to the Jets offensive line, I just want to mention that I thought they played pretty well. I thought they had a very good first quarter and a good fourth quarter. I thought my nemesis Van Routen actually had a good game, and Connor McGovern had a good game. Ray, how do you think the Jets offensive line played?
Well, I thought they played better than last year, definitely. They were a little
except for third and one.
We're missing Elijah Vera Tucker, obviously, so that could make a difference too. But But my only real concern was the short yardage blocking. That really bothered me a lot. Everything else seemed to be better, and in time should continue to improve. But I was just totally frustrated with the third down and whatever, and we couldn't even get close to getting there most of the time.
Ralph, what were your thoughts? On that?
Yeah, a mixed bag. I thought that pass blocking was pretty good. The run blocking, same thing. Those short yardage situations. Now, my only thought on that was that the Giants might have been putting up like 9 guys, and I think maybe Saleh just decided, I want to see what my guys can do in this situation. Normally, when those guys are lined up like that, if Wilson does a play action and rolls out, I'm sure he could walk for the first down or just toss it to the tight end. But I probably doesn't want to show that stuff, and he probably wanted to see what his line was made out of. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that they were overmatched numbers-wise in that regard.
Okay. Now, I mentioned to you the Jets and the other teams, they have to get down to 85 players by Tuesday, which, I think it's going to be easy, the first one. Then they have a scrimmage with Green Bay, I think, for 2 days, and they play them at Saturday. Apparently, though, the practice squad is going to be 16 players. And what happens is you could add 2 players to the roster, making it 55, but on game day, it's still only 46, which I don't quite understand that as far as the math goes. But nevertheless, 16-man practice squad. And I had a question for you guys. The Jets, what do you think they keep? 7 receivers and 4 running backs? 6 receivers, 5 running backs? Or the typical 6 receivers, 4 running backs? You want to take a stab at that, Ralph?
It's so tough because those last couple of guys, it's going to matter more what they do on special teams. So you get a guy like Berrios. He's valuable because he's a punt returner. And, I don't think Michael Carter's ready to be one. Cole's is solid. Same thing with Vincent Smith. I think those 2 guys, they're going to offer more on special teams than the running backs do. So I think they might go 7 wide receivers. The running back situation is interesting because of Coleman. We don't know what's going on with him, how long he's going to be out. Adams and his 1 or 2 shots, again, look pretty good. So that's going to be a tough cut if they only go 4.
Okay. Ray, your thoughts?
I thought 7 and 4 or 6 and 4, but when you get thinking about it, and you're not including tight ends when you say receivers, right?
No, wide
receiver. And remember, Moore wasn't even in the game, so you add that to the mix, and he could have changed that whole game. But I can't imagine that they're going to keep Moore, Berrios, and Crowder, but they might. And then I think if you do, then you're going to be with 7.
Right. Let me just say, I think they're going to keep Barrios. I'll tell you why. Because
you think Barrios over Vincent Smith?
Well, you see, that makes it tough. But I think let's assume Crowder's gone after this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think Barrios would be the backup slot.
Next year, you think next year? Well, I think you can get another slot guy. I wouldn't keep him based on next year, though.
Okay, so you think Barrios might be the odd guy out, Ray?
Well, I'd say yeah, except for the punt return part, because I don't want them to see him putting Elijah Moore back there all year. But then again, they might. They could always.
Well, Cole can definitely do it. He returned 180 yards with Jacksonville, so he can do it and he's comfortable. But you need someone else because if he goes down, the important thing is someone who's comfortable catching the damn ball. Even if they don't return it. Yeah.
Ralph, what if it came down to with receivers? They keep 6. It came down to Barrios or Jeff Smith, who's looked pretty good. What do you think they'd do?
They keep. So you say that would be 7. What about Vincent Smith?
Oh, right, Vincent Smith. Okay, let's say it's 7, but it came down to those 2 getting cut. What would you think?
I'd say Barrios over Jeff Smith, definitely.
You keep him. Ray,
Yeah.
What about you?
I think Berrios sticks then.
Okay. All right. You see, I think because of the 17-game schedule, they might tend to go 5 running backs instead of 7 receivers. And with the expanded practice squad, they might try to, stick like a Jeff Smith in there, But another
how long do you have? What's the eligibility rules for the practice squad?
Since the COVID and everything, it's changed. But
Yeah.
I always thought that you go in the practice squad, but like if the Patriots go to you and say,
I understand that part. I'm just saying, how many years can a guy have eligibility?
I'm not sure.
Do you have any idea, Ray? Because I feel like there is a
Once you've been in
limit.
the league so long, there's a
Yeah.
limit. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
Look,
before we get past it, quick mention on which backup do you think we should backup QB?
it's like
Waiver wire.
it's like suicide by poison or a gunshot.
Yeah, they're both pretty clunky looking.
I think my
football
favorite
players.
play was when Mike White handed off to the running back who fell down while he's laying on the ground.
Here, you take it. I don't want it.
Yeah. But wait, look at the bright side. At least we don't have that guy Thorson. The backup.
Yeah, he was bad
He's
too.
awful. I mean, he
Or
made
Luke Falk. And these guys are better than Luke Falk.
All right. All right, listen, we got to wrap this up. Ralph, let's go back to the trivia.
All right, yeah,
This
yeah.
has been a lot of fun.
Okay, the trivia question. When was the last time the Jets hosted a playoff game?
You want me to say?
Jacksonville?
That's what I say, Jacksonville.
Ray?
Ray said Jacksonville too.
No, it was probably the greatest moment in Jet history, the Indianapolis game with Peyton Manning,
that's right.
41-0.
31-0
Yeah.
Oh, really? That was afterwards, huh?
Yeah, that was 2002. Jacksonville was
Packers the
1990.
week before.
That's right, to clinch it, yeah.
That's a
And since that game, the Jets have been in 10 playoff games, all on the road. Their record is 5-5. That's amazing. That must be a world record.
That's why Mark Sanchez is going to become part of the Ring of Honor one day.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
All right, for Ray Clifford, who's out in Idaho, Ralph Sharega in Belmont, Mass., and me, Marty Shupak in.
Send me a couple of potatoes, Ray. I'm short on potatoes. Huh?
We are going to sign off, and we'll be back sooner than you think. Until next time.